Okay, example number 5, the directions say graph the circle. Right now, I would have a very hard time graphing this circle, but if we convert it back to standard form, this is going to be really easy. So let's start that conversion process. I'm going to group my x's. I'll leave a blank. Group my y's. Leave a blank. And we're going to add that constant over to the other side. And I'll put 2 blanks so I don't forget to add whatever I do on the left to the right. So to get this one started, we're going to do b divided by 2 squared. That's going to give me 9. And repeat that, b divided by 2 squared. That will give me 36. And remember to add them to both sides. Okay? I can now factor this side. Remember, the shortcut to finding the factor is just identifying b divided by 2. So this factor is going to be x plus 3 squared. And this factor, negative 6. Okay, so y minus 6 squared. We can simplify what's on this side, giving us 49. Okay, so we now have it in standard form. We can identify the center as negative 3, 6, and the radius as the square root of this number, which is 7. Now that we've identified the center and the radius, we can move to a sheet of graph paper to see what this would look like on the graph. All right, the center said was negative 3, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I should have moved my graph down because this is going to go off the page a little bit, but that's okay. Our radius is 7, so we're going to count 7 in all directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put a dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm a little short on the top, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now this is where your artistic skills kind of come into play. Again, this does not have to be a beautiful circle. As you can tell, mine is already terrible looking. Luckily, I'm in an erasable pen, so I'm going to try that one more time. Again, not the best circle, but when I'm grading you guys on your next quiz or on your next test, okay, I'm going to be checking the following coordinates. Did you plot the center in the correct spot? Did you plot the point on the left, the right, the top, and bottom correctly? Okay, as long as you have those coordinates in the correct spot, I don't really care how beautiful or not so beautiful your circle looks. Okay, let's move to the next question. 6. Okay, we'll start by putting this in standard form. So let's group our x's. Leave a blank. Group our y's. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to leave a blank and add the constant over. Okay, when you add that constant over, it's a positive 3.75, and I'll leave room for 2 blanks over there. Okay, to find this one, we're going to take b divided by 2 and square it. Let's see what that gives us. Looks like 56.25. All right, then we'll take this b divided by 2 and square it. That's going to give us a positive 4. Okay, now we can start with coming up with the factors. Now this example is tricky because we have a decimal answer. Remember the shortcut that I talked about. Coming up with your factor is just b divided by 2. So x plus 15 squared, or you can represent this as a decimal. Okay, same process over here. My factor is going to be -2. And I just need to simplify this side, so let's see what that gives us. (64). Now I can identify my center, which is 15/2, and 15/2 as a decimal is 7.5, comma 2. Remember, this was a -7.5. This one is a +2. And my radius is going to be equal to the square root of 64, which is 8. Okay, at this point in time, I can move to my graph paper, and we can plot this. All right. See if I can give myself enough room this time around. All right, my center is -7. 7.5. So you can eyeball that one. And up 2. So it looks like my center is right there. All right, I'm going to count 8 units up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put a dot. 8 units down. Put a dot. 8 units to the left. Now be careful because this is a half unit. Okay, so I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and here comes the most challenging part, I feel like, of this whole process, coming up with your circle. Maybe it's easier if I do it in 4 arcs. All right, pretty lopsided, but my center is in the correct spot, and my 4 points are in the correct spot, and that's all I'm looking for when I'm grading you, okay? All right, let's move to the last 2 examples. Directions say to complete the following using this information. We're going to put the equation in standard form, find the radius, and then we're going to calculate the exact area of the circle, okay? Let's start with putting this in standard form. Group my x's, leave a blank. Group my y's, leave a blank. Add my constant to the other side, and 2 blanks so I don't forget to add it to both sides of the equation. All right, b divided by 2 squared, that's going to give me 1. This b divided by 2 squared, that's going to give me 25. Now I can factor this side. Remember, the easiest way to come up with a factor is just to look at b divided by 2, which is -1. So x minus 1 squared plus y plus 5 squared. You can simplify on this side, giving us 28. Now, find the radius. The radius in this case is going to be the square root of 28. Okay, we're going to simplify this. 28, we can divide that into 2 and 14. We could then split up the 14 into 7 and 2. So it looks like I found a pair. That's going to come out, and there's going to be a rad 7 left underneath. Okay. Last part says to find the exact area of a circle. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So let's plug in our radius. This says exact, so there's no rounding. Okay, and when you square this, you can let your calculator help you, but the square is distributed to the 2 and to the radical. So that's going to be 4 times 7, okay, giving you 28. And the pi will be attached. I don't know the units, but since it's area, it's going to be units squared. And again, if you need to see this in your calculator, parentheses 2 root 7, oops, make sure you arrow out, squared, gives you that 28, okay? So final answer, and final answer for all 3 parts. Let's go to the last section. Okay, same directions, different problem. Let's group our x's. Leave it blank. Group our y's. Leave it blank. And add the 26.75 over to the other side. All right, b divided by 2 squared. That's going to be 10 squared, which is 100. Okay, b divided by 2 squared. Let's see what that gives us. As a decimal, that's 42.25. If you want to leave it as a fraction, I'm okay with that. Whatever you'd prefer. Okay, coming up with the factor for this one. Remember, the shortcut for coming up with the factor is just look at b divided by 2. So that's going to be x plus 10 squared. And we can move to this factor. Remember, shortcut is to just look at this answer right here. So that's going to be y minus. You can do the fraction or you can do the decimal. Either way is up to you. And we're going to simplify this side. Okay. This is my first answer to part 1. The radius is going to be the square root of 169, which you'll find is 13. Final answer to the second part. Last but not least, calculate the exact area. Okay, so that's going to be (169 pi). I don't know the units, but I do know that's units squared or square units. Okay, that concludes this video. You guys can now go ahead and get started on your 9.9 homework assignment.